The more you try to keep me down and keep my head above the water, you can never hold me down. The more you try to block me out, that's where I kick the wall down. You can never hold me back. The more you try to put me out, the more I'll be blazing, it's too hot. The more you try to put me in the dirt, increase my work, the expert. You see the hunger in the eyes of a survivor. Swallowed my pride, washed down with some saliva. Reinvented my whole life, mental MacGyver. One door shut, another open up, wider. Listen, battle drums in the distance.
Hey everybody, happy Tuesday evening. It's another episode of Pinecase Podcast, the podcast where music is your drug of choice. And we are hanging out with Milli from Mean Bikini. I don't want to say West Coast because you guys got like a pretty international like opinion, especially when it comes to politics and important current events. And so just a big universal welcome to the show again. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. Super excited to sink my teeth back into some of the topics that we talked about last time. I know a lot of people left feeling like super like cup full and excited that there's still humans like you out there, like just doing all the good stuff. And so thank you for taking the time to come and hang out with us again on another fine Tuesday evening. Darling, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Here coming to you from Cumberland, BC on Vancouver Island, the one place in BC that hasn't really got any snow at all this year. So just been kind of surviving the dreary lack of winter magic this year. But yeah, doing good. Happy to see you again and get to come on your awesome podcast here after, I guess we figured out it's been about a year and a half. Lots has happened between now and then, and a lot of the same fights still being fought, but a lot of awesome stuff within the band has been happening. And yeah, I'm really stoked to get to be here and chat with you again.
Yeah, well, we're super happy to have you. It's wild. Like we always, weather is such like a mundane topic to talk about, except for when we talk about like the realities of it. And like the rain actually brings like a certain vibe, and we don't have to like go to this negative place, but depression's like a real thing. And when you don't have the sunshine like you do in Alberta, because we just have the sunshine all day long, right? Like it's minus 40 or whatever, but it's not the same as living on the West Coast when you kind of get those like super cloudy days and like rain after rain after rain. And it's like you kind of got to build your own happiness and your own like vitamin D out there when you're in the middle of a West Coast winter. That's for sure. So
absolutely. Very thankful for supplements and good cozy spaces with sweet people to, kind of fill up and warm the soul up with in times like that.
Well, and Cumberland's such a great place for that. I mean, it's like the epicenter of like, warm and cozy people. And interested to see, I can't even say that word right now, just deadly human beings doing amazing artsy stuff is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, like
absolutely.
And the Waverly too, right? Like it's like a legendary spot on the island for people to like come and participate in the music. So
great vibe in there, great fireplace to go post up and eat some food at on a cold, wet night. Yeah. I feel grateful to be here. Wish there was snow, but save for that, we're good.
Well, you can come and hang out in the snow when you get here. I guess that's actually in just like a short few weeks. Like tell me a little bit about what you guys are going to be doing out in Calgary and Edmonton and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so in like the last 2 years of touring and playing festivals, Calgary and Edmonton have become places that we feel really connected to. Calgary has a few bands on our label Outhouse Records from there, like our dear friends in Quit It, as well as Glitter Glue and No Brainer, and Harsh. They're not a band anymore, sadly, but so we've always been connected to Calgary. And we've come through on tour a couple times and played some great shows and met a lot of really great people out there. And Edmonton has also become a really, really special place to us. We'd played Edmonton before in 2024 on our Cross Canada tour, the first one that we did. And then we came back in July this year to play a show there with our friends in Lush Clot and a few others, and had a blast. But I think what really made a big mark for us with Edmonton was we got to come and play Purple City this past year. And holy shit, like the festival knocked our socks off just in terms of like how well organized it was, the like amount of like diverse, interesting music that was there was like, I think it's one of my favorite festivals I've ever been to in terms of the music. Like every venue I went into had something that I liked, be it punk or shoegaze or metal or even weird kind of 80s dark wave shit. So that was really cool. And we got given a really great time slot on the Saturday night in the Freemasons basement. And the room was packed with people that we knew and people that we'd never met, and got a lot of really great feedback. So that was in September. And then we embarked to do a month-long cross-Canada tour in October. And just the way that it lined up, Edmonton was on a Monday night. It was one of our first stops. And we were really curious to see, like playing a big city on a weeknight sometimes is great. Sometimes it can be a bust, especially with Edmonton being kind of a shoulder season, Edmonton, October being somewhat of a shoulder season. So we played at the Buckingham on White, and the room was completely full. And it was, again, full of some friends that we've made over the last couple of years there. But there were a ton of people who came up to us and were like, hey, we saw you at Purple City. We knew it was a Monday night. We still had to come out. And that really felt so special to us, to, see that there was kind of like a connection there made. And there's some people and some bands out there now that we feel like we've made lifelong friends with and these really valuable connections. So anyways, I digress. We're really excited to be coming back Friday, February 27th to the Palomino in Calgary, and Saturday, February 28th back to the Aviary for our friends in Midnight Peg's vinyl release show.
Beautiful. That's super, super exciting. I've been able to watch the scene like grow and grow and grow in Edmonton. It seems like people are starting to really take it serious. The promoters are starting to come back out. Like the pubs and clubs themselves are like really starting to like absorb the scene. I mean, the Rendezvous was always just kind of like the spot that everybody went to for that, but it seems to be like everywhere. And I mean, punk never went anywhere, metal never went anywhere. This music never went anywhere, but it's just like thriving right now. Like every time I turn around, someone's like, did you go to this show? Did you go to this festival? Like, what's going on? I'm just like, what? Wait, what? Like, yes, we're back. It feels alive again. Music feels alive again. It just feels so good. Well, I'm excited that you guys are coming back because I was like really bummed when I seen that you were in Calgary. I was like, how did I miss that? That's so ridiculous. Like super weird. And then I was like scanning the festival list. Like, okay, no one's really like said who's like the liners this year. Is there anything in the festival like circuit that you guys have been looking at like for the summertime?
Yeah, we have several this year. I think this is shaping up to be our biggest year for festivals so far. There's a couple that we have yet to hear back from that we're really crossing our fingers for. And there's a couple that we're confirmed for that we have yet to announce.
Of course. Yeah.
The only one that we've announced so far that we're really stoked for is the Victoria Ska and Reggae Fest, which, although it is a ska and reggae fest, they have a really healthy serving of punk, as they have every year. We've never played this festival before. Our drummer Ashley has in a band called the Leg Up Project that she used to be in.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like a ska funk sort of thing. But the rest of the band has never played it and has heard nothing but good things. This is like their 27th year of doing the festival. So that's going to be really cool. And we get to open for Lagwagon, which is really wild. Like we're on a bill supporting, a band that has been around since we were kids. I mean, they were in Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a really cool one. And there's a couple festivals that will be announced soon that we're really excited to announce, because two of which are going to be our first time headlining a couple festivals that are out here in BC. So that feels really exciting for us to get to do. And the rest I can't really
No,
talk to you
fair,
about.
fair enough. Well, massive congratulations on all of that. Yeah, festival season
Thank
is
you.
such like a funny one. I'm like, how did we not talk about this with Decimate? Like, I mean, I don't really. I got to start talking about Decimate on like a bigger level, anyways. Like, my girlfriend puts on this like massive like metal fest every year, and so I joined up with her a couple of years ago to do like harm reduction and stuff, and I've kind of got sucked into like the Decimate vortex. And then I'm like, wait a second, wait, like, did we just totally overlook like a bunch of like amazing things? Because we get not like not tunnel vision with Alberta, but it's hard not to sometimes because there's just so many amazing things happening. But then there's also this like really, well, you guys are in BC. Like, I'm like, how the hell did we overlook that shit? Like, what's going on here? But yeah, we don't have to get into like the festival stuff too much because
There's
everyone's gonna be putting.
so many good
Mhm.
ones, and like yeah, I've really grown to love playing festivals. They are certainly like taxing weekends, but it's
Yeah.
so cool to see how individual each festival is, and oftentimes coming away with feeling really extra taken care of, and it's such a cool way to get in front of so many different musicians and people, and also expose yourself to so many different kinds of music on like a personal level. But like as a band, it's just such a fulfilling thing to do, to get to, you go play a show that's a punk show, see a bunch of punk bands, great bands, meet some cool people. You go to a festival and you get to just meet so many people from so many like adjacent types of music. And yeah, I'm stoked. It's
Yeah,
always
no, it's such a cool thing too, and like you were saying, like to get to play the stages like with people that you admire, like that's where the festivals really I don't want, yeah, they show their true value because it's like, yeah, I mean, Victoria Ska and Reggae Fest is been amazing and like is definitely like a place to go, but to be able to share the stage with people that you like absolutely like admire, look up to, like I think that's a whole other. And then also like, with the youth too, right? It's like a melting pot space for people to come up. Like DJ Lion played that festival last year and it was like, dude, like,
Mhm.
do you know who you're standing next to? Like, are you old
Yeah,
enough to know who these people are yet? Because like this is such a cool thing to see. So yeah, no,
absolutely. Cool
festivals.
way to
And
get
it's
to rub elbows with some people that you might
yeah,
look up to. And also,
yeah.
that one's a cool one too, because there's so many different kinds of music. Like, never did I ever think that I'd see our band name on a poster with Souls of Mischief, like that's super trippy.
That's so cool. Yeah, that's so cool. But that's the beauty of music, and that's like the beauty of like how it connects people, right? Like, I preach about it all the time, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like, you gotta like take it in for what it is and what it has done for us as like a society for like generations and generations and generations, right? We utilize it all the time as like a way to like connect with people that we wouldn't normally connect to. I don't think I've ever left a show without like making a new best friend, and even if it's just for like 5 minutes in the bathroom lineup or an hour on the dance floor, like you always leave that space being like, that was worth it. That was worth the sweat
Absolutely.
equity. That was worth the stress. That was worth all the, cutting off work or spending that last $100 or whatever. Like that was worth it every single time.
Hmm.
Such a beautiful thing, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been really cool. As we were chatting kind of before the show, in like the last year, I've got to work for a wonderful organization called the Foundry, which they have all over Canada. I've been working
Yes.
at one in the Comox Valley here as an outreach worker. And, you know, like most punk scenes, ours here is, I'd say, 70% populated by youth. And like, all these amazing nights where we get to bring bands from other places and show them how great the scene is here is that way because it's full of these really enthusiastic kids that show up. And we've always been aware of it as we've watched things grow here and seen the value in having all ages shows and space for kids to connect. But I've gotten a really special insight into it through the crossover between like being somebody who plays shows in this community and being somebody who like actively works with the youth that are in this community, and seeing the value of having a space where all these kids, a lot of which are queer and trans and neurodiverse, can come be their authentic selves and be around other people that share the same values or aesthetic or energy. It's such a welcoming space. Like it is it's become just like such a wildly obvious, important thing that I think people don't necessarily consider how healthy and healing that is for youth to come to. And like, one of the things that I've noticed as a trend in my work is this dichotomy between the internet being like readily available to kids and how it can, connect them to such a wide range of like information and other people. At the same time, it's a very isolating thing because a lot of kids, there's like several people that I've worked with who they don't have any like in-person friends. They go home, they get on their computer, and the only people they socialize with are people on their computer. And I've asked a few of these kids to come and check out a show, and a couple of them have now been to every single show since. And it's like a space, they don't even have to come and make friends. They can just be there and be a part of something. And it's, it sounds obvious, but it's really this like profound thing in my mind that is so heart-filling every time. And I really want to highlight that for people, who may not have an insight into like the world of punk rock, but it's not just loud, pissed off music. It is really, truly this like deeply open and accepting and healing space that I think is making a big mark on a lot of people, especially in this current climate in so many different ways.
Yeah, yeah, well said. It's so interesting because I actually watched this situation play out in real time, actually at Decimate Metal Fest. So I had somebody with me who is like helping me do harm reduction, and she is like inherently part of like the 4-H like horseback riding world. Like that's her space. And so I convinced her to come with me, and she's like, all of the rodeos, all of the things that are supposed to be these like family orientated spaces that I'm supposed to feel safe in. She's like, I have never felt more loved than being in a mosh pit. I have never felt so a part of something until this. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, you grew up in this space that's supposed to be all about family. And I'm not shitting on like 4-H or rodeo or whatever. Like, that's not it. But how funny that like this young human went into this space that she has no idea. She doesn't listen to metal music. She doesn't listen to punk music. She doesn't listen to any of the stuff. She comes in, she sees all these like, wild outfits and spikes and all this stuff. And this is the space where she felt the most like welcomed and loved and a part of something. And I was just like, whoa. Like, yeah. Yeah,
That's beautiful. And it doesn't surprise me. Like, I think that's one of those things where the glass ceiling can always be shattered. You're brought up in a specific way, in a specific culture, a specific community, and you're like, this is as good as it's going to get. And then you find something like that is like such a radical, massive level of like, acceptance and people with open hearts and open minds, and that ceiling gets shattered.
Yeah. Well, and it's just it's so wonderful to watch people do that. I love that you're able to bring that to the foundry. I seen like Punks and Pancakes, and I was just like, dude, this is actually starting to happen. Like, this is actually starting to happen in a real way where like people with intention are actually getting these jobs where they can create these moments for these kids and like create these moments for the community. Like, it's starting to, I mean, this is like little kid Kalisha that always knew that music would like change the world and have this profound effect, like, okay, it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. But then now we're like, I'm old enough to see the people that thought like I did start putting it into action. And it's just like such an amazing thing. Massive shout out too, by like even putting that space together for these kids.
No, thank you. Yeah. I feel really, really, really fortunate to get to be in a place in my life where like my livelihood and my passion are so interwoven with one another. Like, one thing kind of is connected to the other in a big way. And it's been an interesting like shift to, obviously still like working in advocacy for harm reduction and drug user rights and stuff through music, and like through like I still work in the community out here doing harm reduction work. But it's been cool to shift into a space where I can kind of get insight into like another modality of like activism and another crisis that's going on, which is like, the crisis for youth mental health, which is like, God, it's so real. Like, and I think that's, an ever present thing, but to get to see it now from the lens that I do and how bad it really is. Yeah, it makes me even more grateful for spaces like punk rock shows and I was thinking actually recently, I've been playing in bands for a little over a decade now consistently. And
Mhm.
back when I
Wow.
lived in Vancouver, like I didn't ever have a preference between an all ages show or a bar show. And I remember reflecting and thinking that, I preferred playing bar shows for like absolutely
Okay.
no reason. And now, like, it really is like if you want to play a really energetic and good room,
Mhm.
playing in all ages space, if you want to see like, the highest level of direct impact, it's all ages spaces. And it's nice to see that there is a lot of that going on. As I was saying, like we just completed our biggest tour that we'd done in October, which was it was 24 shows over 30 days, all the way from Vancouver to Halifax and back. So we toured
Wow.
the entire country from coast to coast, one island to another,
Amazing.
and a very large portion of the shows that we played were all ages shows, and some of them were even put on by youth, doing like some pretty radical shit. Like
That's so fun.
we played Moncton, New Brunswick.
Okay.
I think it was Thanksgiving Sunday in mid-October in the cold. I checked the temperature and it was 3 degrees Celsius, and we played a generator show under a bridge. And this was just put on and orchestrated by like young folks who are stoked on music, and some band us that they'd never heard of, or like, we're coming through. They're like, cool, it's a Sunday, whatever, we'll drag a bunch of gear out and make a show happen for you folks. And like, there was like probably 20 people that showed up, which for a Sunday night on a holiday outside, edging into winter, was pretty good. But yeah, it was really, really, really cool to get to see so much of this like familiar feeling across the
Yeah.
country, where we're seeing, especially in the world of punk rock, spaces for young folks be prioritized and valued, and the impact that it's having,
It actually like makes me a bit emotional because for us, going back to like the 90s or whatever, like this shit was the regular, this was what it was. Like that's
Yeah.
what it was. That's what it looked like. That's what this whole thing
Yeah.
looked like. And that's why we like maybe stood a little bit of a chance. And like you're saying, like these kids don't have that. And I don't want to be like, these kids, but they don't have that. They have this like buffer between them, the screen or whatever. And so now to like see these kids out there that are like taking initiative and being like, yeah, let's just like, let's just do this, or let's just take this chance and see what happens or whatever. Like that, yeah, like actually it makes me quite emotional, to be honest. It's such a beautiful thing, right? It's not even that
Well,
crazy.
one of us will usually, at least one of us will cry every show that we play.
Yeah. Yeah.
It hasn't become lost on us in any way, shape, or
Yeah.
form how special and meaningful it is. And yeah,
That's
again, just
wicked,
like
man.
really always try and stay rooted in like gratitude for being
Yeah.
in the position that we are to get to do this stuff, and get to do something that is important and meaningful to us, that just happens to have a positive impact on other people. Like what more could you ask for out of a creative endeavor?
Yeah. No. No, you can't really. And yeah, you can't really. I mean, my mind I'm still underneath the bridge, to be quite honest. Like I'm still outside with like the 20 people. Like I don't even, but yeah, gratitude. And it's super important to like be to kind of reflect on some of those moments, because these career positions didn't even exist when we were that age, right? Like there
Yeah.
was no social worker that looked like you. There was no one
Yeah.
that worked at Foundry that like looked like you. I know that because I used to go to John Howard Society all the time. I mean, I was a product of their
Yeah.
program, like honestly. And so they had like this independent living program that like I
They
totally was
still
a part.
do.
Yeah, okay. So like yeah,
Yeah.
I and thank goodness for that, because yeah, that got me through to graduation. And
That's
I
wonderful to
actually like
hear.
I have mad respect for John Howard. It's like I don't even know if I can call it Foundry because I'm not used to calling it that, because I called it John Howard for so long. But yes, yeah.
Yes, John Howard like operates the Foundry. So yeah, John Howard is still a thing that exists, and yeah, I mean, the Foundry has like a ton of different programs within it, like outreach and counseling and substance use counseling. We run groups out of there. There's programs for caregivers. There's like peer support, and then through John Howard, connected in the same building, they have the youth forensic stuff, which is like working with youth in the justice system. And they also run a building out here called the Station, which has the Level Up program, which is like second stage housing for youth in recovery, as well as the youth independent living stuff. So there's a lot of good stuff happening in the realm of John Howard and the Foundry. And it's really cool to see that, like, and learn from working there, that like John Howard operates Foundry out here, but the Foundry is just a model that is all over the world. Like, they have them in Australia, they have them in other countries all across our country. Yeah, really, really cool and neat to see and hear your story of, how long this organization's been around for, and the lasting impact on, multiple generations, evidently, that it's had on people.
Yeah, I speak about it quite a bit, actually. Like, so I graduated 2006 with honors, to be quite honest. And most of that was like arts classes. Thank you. I'll take it. Lots of that was like art stuff that we like shoved in at the end of the school year to like make it happen. But that's what it looked like. Like somebody, yeah, they could have easily put me into foster care, right? That choice was like right there. It was like, you're either going into foster care or you're going probably to like the ditch, like and I don't even mean to be like dramatic. It just like that's literally what it was looking like, right? And yeah, there was just like this amazing worker who like took a chance, and she was just like, look, if you keep your grades up and you meet with me on a regular basis, like I think we could get you funding to get you into like a bachelor pad or like a one bedroom. And like, to me, that wasn't even like an idea, right? I was just like,
Yeah.
just get me the hell out of this house. Like, it wasn't even a thought. I was like, I'm at best, I might be able to like live on my friend's couch or something, right? I never even thought of this. And then she was just like, I think that you could probably pull this off, and like, this is what it's going to look like. This is what our expectation is of you. And that gave me so much confidence. It gave me like so much gumption, and it changed how I felt about how I valued myself, right? I went from like somebody who, and not to say that kids in foster care don't have value, because they absolutely do. And there's so much beautiful stuff that happens in the right type of foster home. But in that moment, that choice that they took, or that leap of faith that we all, I guess, took together, changed really how I seen myself. And I went on to go to college after that. And then I was the front of house manager of the Tidemark Theater for 12 years. Like, I was able to give back to the community in Campbell River. And
Yeah.
though fundamentally, like those pieces, those building blocks, I still live with today. I mean, it's the reason why I'm so interested in going into addictions and community service work now, later on in life. It was too close to me maybe back then, but I've worked through a lot of that stuff. And
Yeah.
I feel confident to go into it. And there's a lot of things I needed to like learn and figure out for myself, and too, but yeah, absolutely. Like I look back at that time like so fondly, because I think when you're given a third opportunity or a third choice, it doesn't have to just be like A or B. It could also be C. And like with Foundry, there's like X, Y, Z. To be able to have like a choice, and then to see have somebody near you that like is rooting for you in a bigger way than just being like, this is what you need to do.
Totally.
It
It's
changed
all
the
about
narrative.
empowering kids to make their decisions, and knowing that they're safe to advocate for what their needs are, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, I think that's so special, like hearing the context of like your story and what you're going on to, like, that those full circle moments in life are so special. And like, starting this job brought back a lot of memories for me that I didn't really consider. Like, I grew up as a kid in the school system with Tourette's syndrome and ADHD that I was diagnosed with at a very young age,
Right.
and struggled so hard to get through, to be accepted by my peers, to work through a school curriculum that didn't make any sense to me whatsoever, and all while managing, a disorder causing me tics that is maybe very obviously different than other kids in like insane hyperactivity and zero self-awareness of it, you know, in that time. And I had workers like what I'm doing now that would come and take me out of school to go do things with other kids. They would come and help me, you know, we'd go sit one-on-one and like talk about my emotional stuff that was going on when I was like 8. And I kind of forgot about that until I started doing this. And it's so so cool to go and be the person that, you know, as cliche as it sounds, be the person that I needed when I was a kid for someone else. And that's, you know, what you're doing. It's so special that those opportunities to get to go and just have that full circle moment and really taking that lived experience and putting it into practice in a meaningful way to support the people who were where we were.
No, it's such a beautiful thing. I just love it. I just love it so much. And I love that the image of it has changed, because it used to be a little bit intimidating too, right? Because it's like, okay, these people don't look or smell like me. Like, they're cool and we're here and like we're out in the community doing stuff. I also have like memories of like being outside of school with them and being like, this is kind of cool because I don't have to be in class right now. So like, that's really neat that you also have that. But it's like such a beautiful thing that like, that it's us now doing that. Like, dude, for sure, it's such a powerful thing for some of the individual people that actually sit near you and are like, hey, dude, like, it's going to be okay. And I don't even mean to like be super emotional about it, but the kids are our future. And, you know, we always talk about as a society, oh, we got to pour back into the kids. We got to do this for the kids. How do we support them? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, this is it. Like, this is it. We finally are getting like some of the right people in there. I shouldn't shit on anything that's happened in the past. I don't mean it like that.
No, I get what you're saying though. Like, there's a really big kind of steering away from the super ultra clinical model that has been imposed since, you know, these supports first were identified as needed. And I think that is super helpful because, like, you know, a lot of it's first impression based. Like, if you have a kid who's struggling and is curious about counseling and they walk in and they don't like what they see or what they feel or what they hear, they're not going to come back. Like, you know, so yeah, it's like, it's nice to have real people doing the stuff for disarming. And like, I can honestly say that like every single person that I work with at the Foundry, they are so cool. Everybody is so cool and interesting and caring, and they're all real people, you know, whether they're there and able to work there because of their lived experience, or they're there because they went to school to become a counselor or whatever. Like, everyone brings so many different things to the table, and they're all like, you know, people that I feel like if I was a kid showing up there, I'd be thrilled to talk to any of them. And
you're like, they're real people. There's real people here. Like, there's real people here. Totally. Oh, that's so freaking cool. That's so cool. I think like so the history of John Howard Society is already such a fascinating one. It doesn't really get talked about enough. I think like the whole like supporting people coming out of jail, I think, is like the original story, right? It was like meant to like mostly men and like trying to transition them into life. So it was like they were already doing it, right? Like they're already doing the thing. But then to add like the Foundry on top of that, which actually I didn't know that they were a global piece. Like, so it's just like a separate unit that has like a bunch of facilitations in it. Like, that's like a model that can
exactly can. This like wraparound service youth resource center, essentially.
That's super amazing. And then also to be able to to be able to like stack it with people that look and feel and sound like them. Like, I think we actually like have a fighting chance. Like, we actually have a fighting chance with this, you know, if we can hit it where it is, where they're at, meet them where they're at. Because I think that, you know, like you were saying, that's kind of the piece that was maybe missing a little bit, was like coming in where that kid was at. Before we go forward though, like, can we just circle back to your Tourette's a little bit? Because we didn't really talk about it last time. Because one, it's not like it just, you know, it's just a piece of you. But I am kind of curious a little bit to know like how, like what it feels like, and how do you kind of deal with that piece?
Thanks for asking. It's such a nuanced thing, and I love any opportunity to talk about it.
Cool.
Yeah, I guess like, for those that are listening or watching that don't know, Tourette's is a neurological disorder that presents itself as tics. So that can be anything from like a small twitch to the more commonly perceived version through the media, yelling out swear words, which is actually like pretty rare. I think like a lot of people are aware of what Tourette's is because, you know, it presents in movies as this like funny thing, but it can actually be entirely different. Like, luckily for myself, I don't do that because it sounds really debilitating, but I have several tics, you know, often just motor tics, like small twitches or whatever, kind of hard to explain, that have shifted throughout my life. It started like when I was 4. Sometimes I've had worse ones than others. And yeah, it's an interesting thing. Like if I had to describe it to somebody, I'd say when you have an itch that you have to scratch, your brain is sending an impulse to your body to do this thing. Your hand isn't automatically going there to do it. So I am essentially in control of it, but if I don't do it, it's really uncomfortable. It gets worse when I'm anxious or tired or stressed out or excited. So really anything other than just being mellow.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been the only thing that I've known, so I can't really compare it to anything. But you know, kind of reflecting on the things that I like to do in life, it's all kind of started to make sense because an interesting thing is if I'm doing something that I'm like really, really involved in and is taking a lot of my focus, my tics will stop. So my entire life have loved mountain biking and skateboarding and snowboarding, all really high intensity activities in which my tics are completely gone. When I'm performing on stage, my tics are non-existent. And it's kind of a cool thing because I think like in a subconscious way, maybe I've been kind of led towards these things because they give my body and my mind a bit of reprieve from that. So that's the long-winded explanation.
It's so okay, but you know what? It actually kind of gives like a physical response to some of the feelings that like we deal with in mental health, right? Like when we're talking about like yeah, because if you're relieved of the symptoms when you're doing these like crafty sort of things or these artsy sort of things, is it like just like an extreme version of like what we're trying to accomplish with like using music or art as a tool for say like stress or anxiety, because those also have like a physical symptom, right? Like you can see people start to sweat or start to like move around. 'Cause, like I obviously like this is me being so ignorant to the whole situation, but it almost sounds like because it's related to like emotions that it's just like a constant release of the same thing that would be similar to like anxiety. Does that make sense? Does that not make sense? Sorry. Wait, hold on. Let me try to explain that
I
again.
think so.
Okay, I'm like, I totally sound crazy right now. So I'll use anxiety for an example. When I have anxiety, I sweat and I stress and I have like a physical reaction. I start moving around all the time, right? But I have somewhat of like I can navigate that a little bit and I have a little bit of control over that. I know when it's happening, I can leave the space and go and
Yeah.
talk to myself and get through it. But if I never had reprieve from that feeling, if that feeling was just constant all the time and I wasn't in control of it the same way that I was with like anxiety or stress, like is that kind of the same thing? It's like you have this response that you're actually not so in control of. Is that the feeling that it kind of gives you? You're like, oh, I'm having this response, but I actually can't like walk away from it.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, it's always there, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
But then you have like music and like and mountain biking and these things that like relieve you of that, which is like an extreme it's like an extreme like it's not a therapy, but it's just sorry, it's just so fascinating to me that there's things that you can do that relieve you of that
Absolutely.
feeling.
For sure.
It's
And
fascinating.
it's you know, a really interesting thing to look at objectively where it's like, you know, these spaces that are really chaotic.
Hmm.
And, you know, for anyone who's seen us perform, there's so much movement and it's loud, it's energetic, and there's a lot happening.
Yeah.
And that's one of the most peaceful spaces that I get to exist in my life. So it's kind of funny because totally kind of contradicts what's happening. But yeah, it's a really neat thing. And you know, again, kind of like, yeah, looping back to like being able to see the power of like, you know, punk rock and heavy music for youth and stuff like that. Like, I'm one of those kids who found salvation in my existence by going to these accepting spaces. And you know, now as an adult, I feel like I can walk into a room at a show and like be myself. Like, I know firsthand, you know, when I'm talking, and like, I don't want to sound like I'm preaching like punk shows and like how good it is for kids, but like
Come to
really
the
that's coming
show.
from my own experience of like how much it helped me and how much it continues to help me. And you know, even as an adult, it's cool to walk into a room where there's like all these like neurodiverse kids who are like stimming in the crowd, and like other kids that might have Tourette's or a tic disorder, who are, you know, whatever is going on. It feels so comforting, and like we're, you know, all there in the same space as equals. Yeah, it's really cool.
It's tragic that we can't just like mimic that in like everyday life, you know? It's
Hmm.
like it's bizarre that like we haven't found a way, or maybe this is the way, like music is the way, and I'm like overlooking it, or like we have created the space, Felicia. They already exist. It's called music, right? But it's I don't know. It's really cool that you have like some sort of reprieve, I guess. So as a kid, I don't know if I would know how to approach the situation at all. And then as an adult, I'm like, this dude's got like a built-in icebreaker. Like this is fucking rad, you know?
I mean, it's lent itself to, I think, my on a personal level, my ability to be my authentic self in any space I go
Mhm.
into, because like I can't hide arguably the most obviously different thing about me than other people. So why hide
Yeah.
anything else? And like I've been able to carry that for a lot of my life. Like obviously I felt alienated as a kid a lot of the time, but were also a lot of times that I was like, fuck it. You know, this is me. I can't hide it. So I've gotten to, like, fortunately, although it's, you know, I struggle a lot, as everybody does. I feel like have a pretty good grasp on like being able to show up to most spaces in my life, and have for a long time, as my authentic self, because I can't hide
Yeah.
that I'm different. So
Just forces you to do that. Oh yeah, that's yeah. It's interesting because the first time we talked, I don't even really know if I noticed, to be quite like to be totally truthful. And maybe that's because in those moments, like I wasn't prepared enough, um, like even as an interviewer, to be like, "Hey, hi, how are you?" I was just like, "Oh my god, he's here. This is crazy. I gotta have like this conversation. Da, 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 I gotta get through it," you know? Um, until maybe later on in the podcast when we started talking about like harm reduction and things that felt familiar to me. And then I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." But again, I'm an adult. I'm just like, yeah, fuck whatever, dude. Like people got things. I don't know. I do crazy shit and I don't even have like an excuse for it. So like, you know, so yeah, Dan,
everybody's got something.
yeah. I appreciate like your candidness about it and talking about it, because yeah, it's just not something that I'm like super familiar with. Although I do have a friend who has it, but his is like very specific. So obviously don't want to talk about it when he's not here, but it would be like like stomping a foot, or you know, it
Yeah.
wasn't like facial, it was very just like
Mhm.
his motor skills or whatever. And it would always come at like the most inappropriate times too, when it was like, oh, we gotta be quiet, we gotta like sneak through the house. Then he'd be like bam, bam, bam. And I was like, dude, like
Yeah.
trying to
That's
get
that
like
anxiety about having to repress it in a space definitely does make it worse. Like if I have to be quiet, oftentimes they'll go the opposite direction unintentionally. Yeah, it's interesting. It's really
wow.
connected to anxiety and some OCD stuff that I think a lot of people with Tourette's and ADHD have. Um, and yeah, it's an interesting thing, and I'm grateful that you asked, because
Mm,
I feel like it's like a privilege and an obligation
yeah.
that I have to share information about something that there's so much misinformation out there about.
Yeah. I've seen it too. I've also seen like some weird people being like, "That's fake. That person's not. That's not real." And maybe it is. I don't know. Who am I to like ever know what the hell what the internet is doing? But I always just find it like really strange when someone's like, "That's not Tourette's," or like that's and just like someone trying to like do
I've
a
had people say that
drive-through
to me
order. I'm like,
before in the past. They're like,
really?
"What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I have Tourette's." They're like, "No, you don't. You're not yelling swear words." And I'm like, okay, pretty sure I do. uh, yeah, it's funny, but yeah, again, that's why, just like anything, the one of the most powerful
Unreal.
tools to understanding is
Mhm.
open conversation. The
Yeah.
best way to break down stigma
Yeah.
and misinformation is talking about shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Get into the knit and the grit and yeah. Yeah, no, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I can't people are so like that's so wild. Can you imagine like telling somebody what they are or aren't? Which I
People do
guess
all the time in the world.
as that exited my mouth, I immediately was like, wait, it's like it's what's happening all around the world right now. Like what is going on? We don't have to get into the politics, although I do want to touch a little bit about like the post that you guys put out as a band. I found that fascinating. I was like, look at this. It's like it's like, hey guys, we hear and we see and like we're going to acknowledge this. We know that some of you guys are down in the States right now. Like some of you guys been living in the States this whole time and no one cared and now they do care. I was just like, dude, who are you guys? Like how did that come up and when were you guys like we need to address some of this shit publicly?
Well, I mean, we've always been a band that uh, wants to use our platform to talk about what's happening in the world. And it did come to our attention fairly like in the last year that like, yeah, I think over half of our people that are listening to our music online are in the States.
Wow. Okay.
And we have some really dear friends down there, in like friends of the band as well as friends individually. We have a band down there that's on our label called Shame Banger, who are some of the most amazing folks, also big activists. And obviously, like, yeah, everybody can see what's going on. There's a big magnifying glass, which is fantastic on what's happening down there. Um, and yeah, I guess it just felt like an issue that's affecting people that we love. It's an issue that's affecting people that we don't even know and people who may be connected to us and human beings in general who are getting crushed under the weight of fascism, which is something that we directly, as individuals and as a band, have always opposed. So it just seemed like a good opportunity to, I don't know, speak about it. I think yet, just like we were talking about before, like talking about things that are happening is the one of like the most powerful things to combat the stuff that's going on. And like, what is a post on Instagram really going to do? I don't know, but maybe it will connect with somebody. Maybe it will make somebody think twice about their views or educate themselves a little bit more on what's happening. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think we all just agreed that it was something important to make mention of, and I'm glad that we did.
Well, when I seen it, these things don't often really affect me, although I appreciate what they stand for and like what this looks like. I'm a product of immigration. My dad was born in Jamaica. I mean, it maybe didn't look the same as what people are going through right now, but we all did. Like, unless you're First Nations, like we all came here somewhat kind of the same way. And the fact that it's even like happening in 2026 is like totally wild to me. But when I seen that post, I was like, wow. Like, holy shit. I mean, that's what punk is anyways, but also like why is it punk to talk about shit that is important to people and like humanity?
Yeah, I know it's kind of wild that people have to consider it radical thinking to lead with compassion.
Yes. But that's what it is. Like, this is literally the space that we're living in right now. Like, this is what, because when people talk about it, it's like, oh, they shouldn't be talking about it. It's nobody's business. It's to keep your opinion to yourself. I mean, I haven't even started in with the Super Bowl stuff. Like, dude, oh my God, my DMs were like blown up about like, you know, um, the whole like what is America type of thing. It's just like, were you not in the same bullshit ass history class that I was? Like, fuck, man. I barely went to school, and I'm telling you, like, we all knew what America looked like. That
Yeah.
it's been one space for like a long time, right? And so, yeah, it's wild to me that this is radical. I'm there with you, but it is. I mean, but so was Pride, right? Pride was really.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be talking about that either. Shouldn't be having these conversations. And who are you? And I support blue collar. Oh my gosh, I'm like such a big advocate for like what blue collar stands for, in especially in Canada. Like, it's the backbone of our society. I talk about it all the time. But here's what's wild. When I talk to these guys and I'm like, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about Pride? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Because I've been made to think that you guys all think this is like totally left wing and that's gross and and they're all like, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't give a shit. I'm like, huh.
I mean,
Okay, so then
it's hard to, I think, and this isn't like saying anything against what you were saying, but having that generalization of blue collar people are going to see this in one specific way is just as harmful as them thinking that all Pride events are bad, right?
But this is what I'm saying then, like, who are the people that think that this is not a great thing? This, I guess, is like, I mean, it was an ignorant way to say it, but like, who are the people? Because if that was the one group of people that we were supposed to believe really had that narrative's back, and they're like, dude,
Yeah.
like, we're all just trying to make our paycheck. Like, what? Then, like, who is really like pushing this narrative then?
Totally.
Because the old people don't really give a shit either, right? Like, they're just trying to figure out where their last couple of like pension checks are coming from. Like, who is actually agreeing with this?
Mhm.
And why is this post radical? Because it's not, but it was very loving. I thought it was a very nice touch.
I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I actually had a really weird interaction earlier this year, this winter, that I feel like kind of just fits into this. I was on a chairlift going up Mount Washington at the beginning of the season when there was still some snow up there. And I got on the chair, and there is this, what I'm presuming was a family sitting on the opposite end. And it was like a dad, probably in his like 40s, and what I'm guessing were his two late teens sons.
Okay.
And as the chair started to go up, I was just sitting there, and they were kind of like hooting and hollering and yelling at people off the chair, as people do. Like, some people like to, that's how they have their fun up there, and whatever, like being obnoxious and fun sometimes.
I still have a bra hanging from like the bra tree. I know exactly. Like,
No, it's like fun. But I was kind of like, I don't know. It just, there was kind of a weird energy. And after making it halfway up the lift, they're still yelling at people. And I was like, just kind of like, whatever, these guys are like irritating. They're being shitheads, whatever, it's fine. And then something happened. We came up over this crest, and there was like a kid on skis who was probably like 10 or 11. And he was like standing on top of this really steep section about trying to drop in. And one of the kids was like, "Do it, pussy." And then the kid's like obviously scared and like tries to go down. And the other kid's like, "Do something cool." And then I think it was the dad was like, "That wasn't cool. You suck." And I was like, okay, I got to say something. So from across the chair, I looked over at them and I was like, guys, if you want someone to like do something cool, you got to like be kind and uplift them. And the chair just like went silent. And I was like, you can't expect anyone to feel inspired if you're being an asshole. And they didn't know what to say. And then the dad stuck his head out. He looked over at me and he said, "Sorry, buddy, we're not liberal. We're not liberals. Carry on. Carry on. We're not liberals." And then they proceeded to like just talk really loudly about amongst themselves about how they support ICE and all this shit. And I was like, I'm not going to get into a fight with some dude on a chairlift 60 feet above the ground. But to have my interjection about simple compassion and being kind as a way to uplift somebody to do something be met with, "We're not liberals." I was just like, it took me a while to process this. I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't say anything about politics here, man. I'm just telling you not to be a piece of shit. And
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that
anyway,
part.
I just felt like that was kind of, you know, that reminded me that there are those people out
Yeah.
there. And, it is interesting because I agree. It's like, who are these people that are backing and supporting these like harmful, hateful, violent ideologies? And living where we do, I feel really grateful to get to live in a place where there's so many people that I get to spend time with and share community with that are in alignment. But really, there are those people out there that exist still. And it was really disheartening to be reminded of that in that.
It's wild that you found that at the top of Mount Washington, because Mount Washington, I mean, at the base is literally Cumberland, and like
Yeah.
Mount Washington is like such a place of like love and yeah. I mean, I used to work up there, so it's like it's a whole other vibe up there. I mean, there is, I guess it has changed a little bit over the years, but like it's a vibe, and yeah, it's just sad. But also, okay, oh, there's so much to unpack here because
Yeah.
why like why do politics what the hell does politics have to do with how you raise your kids? Like good luck with all that. Like you're going to end up with that doesn't even matter. I'm not going to
Yeah.
tell this dude how to raise his
No,
kids, but like holy shit, man, what the
I
hell
hear
is
what you're
going
saying.
on?
I hear what you're saying. And yeah, again, it was just one of those big, like, they do walk among us
Mhm.
moments.
It's
Yeah.
funny when I was watching the Super Bowl. So, was watching it, and obviously, like Kid Rock goes out and he like does a thing and whatever. And now there's like all this controversy about whether he was like lip syncing, yada yada yada. And then Bad Bunny, who I actually wasn't really super familiar with, like it's not really like my particular genre of music or whatever. But I was a huge Ricky Martin fan, and so I can appreciate the fact that like he's even up there because that's massive. And as I was watching it, so this is like how programmed I am to like think like this. So as I'm watching it, I'm listening, I'm watching all this like amazing like historical piece go in. I'm like, oh, I love this. People were like learning, right? And I'm like in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is about the part where everyone's gonna start like all like those type of people, because I'm gonna say that because I can't get kicked off my own show, but like people that are a little bit more narrow-minded, this is when they're gonna start turning it off. And right as I'm thinking this on fucking cue, the whole lineup of beautiful women just start twerking the shit out of the stage. And I was like, that's so funny. It's like someone knew, like, we can push it this far, but you have to, okay, now bring in
Yeah.
the butts, like bring in the twerking. Like, yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah, I didn't watch any of that stuff. But yeah,
man.
it's a weird dystopian movie that we're living in right now.
Yeah, actually, like all the people are like, it's assimilation. I'm like, you guys are all tripping out, man. Like, and I've been on like the whole conspiracy theory since like before YouTube was a thing, like back when we had to like rip torrents and shit like that. Like, so I'm like on like the OG part, but yeah, I mean, how is it not now? At this point, like, how is it not? Like the minute that they put him into office, and like our dude was hanging out with Katy Perry for a minute. Like, I don't even
Yeah.
want to give them names because it's just like whatever, but like what is going on actually though? And how many things have to line up for this to be a thing?
I just want to
Weird.
take this opportunity just to say to like anybody listening,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to remind you of the importance of like being aware of what's happening and the information that's going on, the information about the things that are happening in the world. It's so important to be aware and being able to pick the things that you want to fight for. But it is so important to take some space to go inward and to drop out of all the noise of all the stuff that is happening around us on our screens, in the news, and take a minute to give yourself a little break and let the nervous system come back down so we can take care of ourselves and take care of each other, because it can feel like banging your head against a wall, and it can feel really powerless to constantly be fighting for what we believe is right and against all the shit that's going on. But we cannot do that if we are not taking time to breathe and taking care of ourselves. So just let this be a little reminder to practice some of that self-care and take a little bit of time to tune out and nourish yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's really easy for people to forget that, because there is so much noise going on and so many things, whether we choose to be aware of or not, that get shoved down our throats. And yeah, it's just really important to care for ourselves.
Yeah, and it can look like so many different things, right? Like, I mean, I'm really blessed. I have horses, and every day, like, I go out there for about 4 hours, and I leave my phone in the car. And so I have this like little piece of paradise that I get to be a part of. But it doesn't have to be that massive, right? It's like pouring a glass of water and going outside and drinking that water and like being outside for a long enough to finish that glass of water, right? Like,
Yeah.
just doesn't have to be massive. It can be little and feel massive. It's like so important. Tim Steinrich comes on here quite a bit, and or not quite a bit, but he's been here often enough, and he just released this new book called Disciplines, and it's like just a few ideas of what like those moments can look like, right? Like, just to have that little bit of reset, because we use all these like fancy trendy words and like being mindful and this and that, and I think it gets like overwhelming, even like to like understand how to do that. Like, how do I do this? But it can really just be like, you know, deep breaths and, you know,
Can be
counting to
whatever you
10.
need to be. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Really.
Like putting your phone in a different room for a little while, right? None of these need to be like massive things. It can just be little and feel massive. No, I appreciate that. Even I was like going off about the Super Bowl there for a second. Like, thanks for bringing me back to reality.
It's all good.
That's awesome. Oh man. Yeah, it's such a pleasure hanging out with you, honestly. I was looking at it today and I'm like, there it feels like a million years ago. I appreciate you taking the time to do it the first time, right? And I'm glad to have you back. The last time we got into like such like a crazy conversation about harm reduction, and I left that conversation being like, I need to learn more about what this topic even like looks like, because from province to province, it looks so very different. And now to hear that you've gone into working with the youth a little bit more, and you're able to bring in like, a bit of arts and culture to that space, like you just, I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's an honor to be even near you in these moments, right? I mean, it's 2026 and things are like actually flailing around, and to know that there's like still people that give a shit is really important, and that you're willing to like take the time and come and hang out with us and talk about some of these things, and show people that, like, again, these moments don't have to be massive, right? Like, you do this in your career, which is amazing, but we can also take time out of our day to go and like support our community and have a little bit of an impact, or a big impact on like society. And so yeah, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us again. And
Absolutely my pleasure. Thank you for creating and using your passion to create a platform where people can talk about this stuff. Because again, like, I really do believe that conversation is such a powerful tool for bringing us together and supporting one another and ourselves. And it's really nice to get to come and chat with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get out of here though, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, it is an interesting time. Like, for those that are listening elsewhere, and I know that we were kind of talking before the show started about what's been happening in Alberta with harm reduction services losing funding, a lot of places closing. Like, I know this in 2025, Alberta lost their last or only overdose prevention site, which was in Red Deer, which is like a huge loss. That's such an important one of the most important services that like a province, a place can offer. Is harm reduction as a place for people to use and be supervised. But in BC, actually, at the very end of January, BC being regarded as one of the more progressive provinces for harm reduction stuff, we actually just took a massive step back. We had a pilot program that I guess was started in 2023, because that would be 3 years ago, which was a decriminalization of substances for purpose of personal use.
It was like 2.75, I think you were allowed to carry on you or something.
Something like that, yeah. And the purpose for this was to destigmatize drug use, to take need for funding away from police to needlessly hassle people who are already struggling, and put some of that money towards easier routes to recovery, to give people an opportunity to seek out recovery and not have to feel
Yes.
like they were going to get penalized.
Yeah.
And the province just, it just ended on January 31st.
What?
Yeah, it was a 3-year pilot program, and they did not renew it. And
Whoa, I didn't know
one
that.
of the fucked up things about this is that they didn't release any sort of statistics explaining why this was a failure in their eyes. There was no stats, there was no proof or evidence as to why this wasn't working. So now, going back to recrim, as we're calling it, we're going to see a lot of bad things happening. We're going to see, police being able to abuse their power again. We're going to see people feeling like they need to hide their substance use, leading to isolation, and people overdosing more because of that. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's going on, and really it just feels like a big slap in the face to everyone that's been fighting the fight to push forward rights, supports for drug users out here.
Yeah, and it's the people who, I mean, fentanyl was not our fault. Like, we didn't bring fentanyl to this. This started as a government issue when they started over prescribing flipping Oxycontin. Like, can't even get into the political part of it because I'll just like lose my shit, or like it just like upsets me so much. Like, this isn't fair, because now these people who are who are trying to get off of this like onslaught of like pill pushing that happened in the early mid 2000s, like it's like this was their opportunity to come out of this with like possible employment, come out of this with possible, not having a criminal record, like to like slap this on to like daily users that are like trying to get into like some sort of recovery, or to like have some sort of harm reduction. And like it's super frustrating. It's like, okay, so now we're wasting time with the criminal system. Recrim is a great name for that. It's like we're wasting all the time with the flipping bureaucracy. We're going to allow people to go back to having all these criminal charges. We're taking their kids away again because now they're a freaking criminal, and they're not like, it's not like a mental health crisis. Like, there's just so many nasty things that come along with doing this. This was like such a lovely thing to have. I'm like, okay, 2.75. It's like, okay, what is that, like a court, whatever? I'm not going to talk about that, but it was like
that. It wasn't the solution, but it was certainly a step in a good direction.
But not, I guess maybe what the argument could be then would be like, well, people that were selling were getting away with like carrying it on them, because I've heard that argument.
We're also upset about use in public spaces, but that's always been an issue. That's always been a thing. It wasn't just because of this. It wasn't like people were just like walking around more casually. Like, the places that have people using openly in the street are still there. And if you want to combat that, create more overdose prevention sites where people can go and have a designated space to use. It's And now we're going to see people who are in active addiction getting arrested for using, getting put in jail, staying in there until they're in withdrawal, coming out of jail, using again, and overdosing. Yeah. Among other things, not to mention that, a disproportionately represented amount of like a very large portion of people who are the people who are unhoused and being affected by the toxic drug crisis are Indigenous people. Yeah. Which goes, far back to the colonial trauma that was imposed. So this is just another way in which, Indigenous people are going to be continuing to get, detrimentally affected by the power that the police have. And there's a whole wide tapestry of issues with this. And I just felt like that was an important thing to touch on because it just happened and not everybody knows about it. And
no, that wow, yeah, it infuriated me, like instant anger. I was just like, what in the heck are they doing? Like, the choices that they're making don't really make a lot of sense. I mean, I can understand why they're like, okay, guys, like we need to make it a little bit scarier. We don't want people walking around with a certain amount on you, like I can see why those conversations would happen, but it's not addressing the actual problem. It was like a little bit of a buffer to allow people to like get from point A to point B without ending up in city cells and wasting the cops' time or the cops. It was just like there was so much bureaucracy, and like it was taking cops away from like the downtown area. It was taking cops away from like calls that they need to be. It was just like so ridiculous. So then there's like the huge lobby to like recruit police officers, which I find so fascinating because it's like, okay, I guess that might be part of the solution, right? But like, I don't know, to go backwards on that. Yeah, there's just so many other things that I think that they could have done first. But I guess that was a contract that was up, so it just came up to that point. I don't know. I felt like that was maybe like a piece of a progress that we should have probably kept. Dude, what are we doing? Like, why is this even a thing? Did they not realize like bringing them into city cells for 24 hours is also such a stupid amount of time. Like, okay, fine. If you're going to criminalize it, then can we talk about what can we bring them in for a minimum of 72 hours? And can we talk about what that 72 hours looks like? Can we have like a medical detox program inside that space then?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
like bringing them in for
There's no solutions being added to this. So
no, 24 hours, like that is like the recipe statistically for people to overdose and die. They're going to come out of city cells. They're going to use the same amount that they thought that they could when they went into. They're going to overdose. They're going to die. Da, 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 da. And the story goes on. I don't have to tell you this because you know this. I just mean like for the people that are going to watch this and understand what we're talking about. Like, then come up with a better solution. Call it 72 hours then. Don't call it city cells, call it detox, and get people into a space where it's like, okay, fine. Like this is your option. You know, you either get charged and you're staying in here until after your trial and dry out. I don't know. I guess we can't do that either. I'm like, just arrest everybody, put them through detox. It just makes me upset because I think that there's other ways to go about doing this than that.
Mm-hmm.
But you know that.
There's a lot of other ways for sure.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I wonder, it'll be interesting to see what the climate looks like after a year of that being back and like what their argument is going to be, because there's going to be a lot of like cops that are like, well, this is a waste of time, right? Why are we in here dealing with all this paperwork for these people with a gram on them?
Yeah.
Right. When we could be doing other things.
Absolutely.
That's sad. Thank you for telling me about it.
For sure.
You were telling all of us about it. Man, it's like a bad day for BC. I don't know why I'm taking it so serious. This is like the amount of people that
it's really disappointing. It is really disappointing. And again, to be, like I got to go across the country a few times now in the last couple of years and talk to different people working in harm reduction in different parts of the country about the programs that they have. And BC is and has always been very ahead of the curve. But to see it regressing or going back on something that was a big progressive move, is just disappointing for sure. So we'll see what comes of it, but nothing good, I'm sure.
No, pushing everybody back inside. I mean, we talked about your colleague that had passed away, and it was like because of he's like, oh, I don't want to use at a safe space because he was working in the industry and the stigma surrounding it. Then it's like doing that, and not to use him as an example. I'm just saying that like he was working in the industry with access to these resources in these safe spaces. Like what happens when we shove all these people back into their houses and lock the door again?
Yeah, exactly.
It's freaking heartbreaking.
For sure. I think I do have to start wrapping up here.
Yeah, of course.
But this has been an awesome conversation. I feel like we got to talk about a lot of great stuff, kind of like carrying forward from our conversation that we had last time, and expanding on some good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Before we get out of here, I want to remind everybody that if you guys are like having a rough day, you can text into our warm line or call if you want. It's 250-289-3948. Somebody will answer. And I say that with like a little bit of a joke, but we have beautifully trained professionals waiting on the other end, whether it be Calico or myself or one of our lovely volunteers. The phone is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The number is 250-289-3948. You can let us know what city or town that you're in, and we'll be able to find the resources in that space, and hopefully walk you through some of the process. So let us know how we can help you in that regard. hashtag 988 is still a thing. Suicide prevention is super, super important. We need you guys around in order to accomplish anything. And please know that like we care and that, you know, we're around. So hashtag 988 is it's national, I guess. It's for Canada and the States. Hashtag 988. That will get you through to the suicide prevention line, and 250-289-3948 is the Pinecase warm line. It used to be my trap line, but it's we do a little outreach on it now. So thank you, Calico, for popping that in the comments. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. It's absolutely an honor. Thank you so much for bringing all the information, all the a little bit of the politics stuff, current events. I was like, oh, I get, it's not like school, but it's definitely sitting in class and like learning some things. I adore you so much. It's super nice to hear that you guys are out doing your thing and be touring. You're gonna be in my neighborhood, so we'll be happy to see you when you roll through Edmonton.
Please come through. It'd be great to meet you in person. And
yes,
thank you again for giving myself and other artists a platform to talk about this stuff. It's super important, and I love everything that you're doing and feel super grateful to be here.
Thank you. Well, the pleasure is all ours. And like I said, I'll be out there for sure. We'll definitely be connecting in the next couple of weeks. I'm super excited to come out and see a show and just dust off a little bit. Yeah. You guys for hanging out in the comments and all that good stuff. Thank you so much. Taking the time to hang out with us. Two kids talking about our childhoods and all the cool stuff we get to do as adults. If you guys have any questions about the show or where you can find any of this information or where you can see or hear Mean Bikini, just let us know. I'm more than happy to send all the links your guys' way so you can go and check it out. Again, a massive thank you to Calico for setting this all up and dropping all the information in the comments. You guys take care of each other, stay safe, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Please stay strong. The further you take my rights away, I'ma run to it, refuse to hear my voice. Speak loud when I spit it, but you don't get it. You just wanna be a side critic. See somebody else showing hate in the side of the road with it. Now how would you feel standing on the sideline and watch the color of a nation deteriorate over time? The flag real high, but compassion 6 feet below. Now you're searching for that justice that decided to never show. Deny my place, I'm back with a trace. Keep up the pace, tight lace, game face. Get back in the race. Whatever they did could never be undone. Every dark night ends with the rising of the sun. Squandered every wealth that's built from the mud. Squandered every wealth that's built from the blood. Squandered every wealth that's built in chains. Stolen from the ancestors running through my veins. With the strength of 1,000 lion and the strength of 1,000 giant, please stay strong. Please stay strong. With the strength of 1,000 elephant and the strength of 1,000 tiger, we stay strong. We stay strong. We stay strong. I can see, run to the light at the end of the tunnel winner. We stay strong. I can't breathe. We're gonna get oxygen without the justice system. We stay strong. And I know, gotta keep my head together. We stay strong. Don't doubt me, please don't doubt me. We stay strong. Tell me how can we be strong if we still shooting? Tell me how can we be strong if we still looting? Tell me how can we be strong if we still hating? Please tell me now.